It's Michael Popok, and it's very dark. It must be time for Legal AF After Dark. Merrick Garland, Special Counsel Jack Smith are finally firing back at Judge Aileen Cannon as they prepare their 11th Circuit brief to try to reverse her decision to dismiss the indictment of the Donald Trump case. Merrick Garland is taken to the airwaves to defend his decision and to tell the world that he knows the law, and Aileen Cannon doesn't. We break it all down for you, one place and one place only, Legal AF. Take a listen. Let's talk about Merrick Garland because he's taken a lot of flack. He's not weird, but he's taken a lot of flack. And he went on a recent interview in which it was like a wide-ranging interview. They talked about the Secret Service, which is sort of underneath DOJ and different other Homeland Security and things. And they got to the point about Aileen Cannon, the judge in Southern District of Florida, who decided to dismiss the entirety of the indictment because she found that Jack Smith is a figment of our imagination. That he's just a guy. He's just a stranger. He's just Jack Smith. He's not a special prosecutor or counsel at all. He has no powers and he's not funded properly. And the indictment should go by the wayside. Let's hear from Merrick Garland, who's finally spoken up and spoken out about whether Jack Smith is employed by the Department of Justice and whether he takes his ultimate marching orders from somebody named the Attorney General.
Judge Aileen Cannon ruled that the way the Justice Department has been picking special counsels for decades is illegal, unconstitutional. Why do you disagree with that?
Look, as you well know, I picked this room for this interview. This is my favorite room in the Justice Department. It's a law library. For more than 20 years, I was a federal judge. Do I look like somebody who would make that basic mistake about the law? I don't think so. Our position is that it's constitutional and valid. That's why we appealed. I will say that this is the same process of appointing special counsel as was followed in the previous administration and the Special Counsel Durham and Special Counsel Mueller in multiple special counsels over the decades going back to Watergate and the special prosecutor in that case. Till now, every single court, including the Supreme Court, that has considered the legality of a special counsel appointment has upheld it.
Right. So that's a very good point that General Garland made there. John Durham, who was a special counsel, who was part of the Russia investigation, but was under Barr. He was made a special counsel by Bill Barr, ultimately by Donald Trump. And nobody suggested that Donald Trump didn't have the power through his attorney general to create John Durham. And John Durham spent millions of dollars to do nothing and invest. You know, he brought he brought 3 prosecutions. They all failed. Nobody got convicted, and it was a ridiculous charade. But nobody challenged that. And for our audience, what Attorney General Garland is talking about, and I'll turn it over to you, Dina, about it. What he's talking about is back as far back as 1974, in a line of cases involving Richard Nixon. You know, the then Attorney General, acting Attorney General, because Attorney Generals went to jail under Nixon. Okay, he was our first criminal president who was caught. And a lot of people went to jail around him, including some that are now talking heads and have been on our network and have given interviews. But, you know, at the time they were criminals and they went to jail. But the Robert Bork, people might remember, was this close to becoming a Supreme Court justice, but didn't make it. He was then the acting attorney general. And before the Watergate Commission, which was a bipartisan, boy, remember those days? Bipartisan congressional commission investigating what the heck happened with Watergate and what heads should roll. He made a promise that he would appoint a special prosecutor. That special prosecutor became Leon Jaworski. If you go back in Wiki and history, you'll see Leon Jaworski was the prosecutor for most of Watergate. That was based on a promise that was made from the acting attorney general to Congress. They were like, okay, that's fine. And so that's the start of it. And his powers were validated by the United States Supreme Court, who enforced his subpoena power as a special prosecutor. Then we had an independent counsel for a period of time under a congressional statute. And then that spawned things like the Ken Starr Whitewater investigation and what became Monica Lewinsky and her allegations against Clinton. Everybody hated it on both sides of the aisle. They got rid of that independent counsel role. And instead it was replaced by the Department of Justice, exercising its rights under the Constitution, under the Attorney General, to appoint inferior officers that report to the Attorney General, including what's called special attorneys that are listed in the Constitution. And that's exactly what Merrick Garland did. And every court that has looked at it, every court but Aileen Cannon, every federal court citing back to U.S. versus Nixon, the Supreme Court precedent, has upheld the validity of a special counsel, special prosecutor, whatever you want to call it. Not Aileen Cannon, new to the bench, appointed by Trump in 2020. No, 93 pages. She decided this has been done wrong all this time because she heeded the call of Clarence Thomas, right, who wrote his concurring opinion in the case about in the immunity case, and said, "Hey, Aileen," this is my paraphrase, my artist rendering. "Hey, why don't you argue that the special counsel is invalid, and then you get rid of the whole indictment?" Right on cue. 3 weeks later, she did exactly that. Mm-hmm. Talk to me about how you're seeing Merrick Garland, and why do you think, while the appeal is now pending before the 11th Circuit, why is Merrick Garland taking to the airwaves in order to basically give his position?
Oh, I loved that, hearing Merrick Garland, because for Merrick Garland, those are fighting words. Like, he is the most, even keel person out there. And when he's angry, and I wouldn't want to upset somebody that smart and with that much power. And that's what they've done to Merrick Garland. He has been trying to be so reasonable, and I think he's catching up to the rest of us. You can't be reasonable to unreasonable people. But he has acted, he was very moderate when Obama went to appoint him to the Supreme Court. At the time, he had voted very similar to Kavanaugh over all these years on the DC Court of Appeals. He was a very moderate to maybe even slightly conservative, and put into this position as Attorney General, taking it very seriously. He's so professional, tried to always seem above board. And this has finally gotten to him. And you know what? Good. Like, let's get him fired up. He's definitely fired up in that interview. He's frankly just shocked because the fact is Judge Cannon, what she tried to do was create new law. You can't do that as on the district court level. You can do that if you're at the Supreme Court level, but you can't do it at her level. She's just supposed to follow the law. It's very clear the law is that special counsels have been allowed. They allowed that congressional act that you mentioned, independent counsel, to lapse because they thought it was unnecessary. And all these years since then, everybody has acted as if the current, the pre-existing, let's say, congressional statutes toward attorney generals allow them to do it. So this is her trying to create new law. And the thing about Judge Cannon, and I say this a lot when I talked about her, is because people often talked about her criticism, saying she wasn't very smart. And that's just giving her an out. That's not it. She came from Gibson, Dunn & Crutcher, the same law firm I came from, and the same law firm Ted Olson came from. If you remember Ted Olson, he represented Bush and Bush v. Gore. It's also got some liberal lions. Ted Boutros was the one that filed the lawsuit when Jim Jordan was trying to subpoena Alvin Bragg just recently in the New York DA case. So there's both sides, but there are some really high-powered political lawyers that come out of that law firm. It is not a coincidence that she took a Justice Alito, who is nearing retirement, right? And you said he called out to her and she heard back, and she was auditioning hey, you can step down. I will rule as you would want to rule. That was definitely a conversation, let's say, between the two of them, because it was not based in the law. And Trump, and she did it in front of Trump, who she was hoping would win and be able to appoint a Supreme Court justice. And, because a lot of times we see that, right? We see justices step down thinking that another justice like them will go in their place. We saw that when Kavanaugh was replaced, I think it was with Breyer, because he had clerked with him before, so he was comfortable stepping down, thinking he was going to replace him. So that happens. So she was clearly auditioning for the role of a substitute for Justice Alito. And frankly, the only way to stop that is by having Kamala win in November, which, as we talked about, is looking really great, but we still have to go out there and vote. But that's what she was doing. And so, she's making it political, but I love that Merrick Garland, he's got his he's got his fight in it now, I think, in a way he didn't before. They have ratcheted it up. And I wouldn't want to be somebody who's on the other side of Merrick Garland once he's fired up.
Welcome back. That's Legal AF, a podcast where we curate the top 4 or 5 stories at the intersection of law and politics. And we bring it to you right here on the MeidasTouch Network, Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And then on all audio podcast platforms of your choice, just plug in Legal AF here on the MeidasTouch Network. If you know about Legal AF, what you can do to help us grow organically and by word of mouth, take that clip, send it off to friends and family, and ask them to join our audience. And if you don't know what that show's all about, we welcome you to join us Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the MeidasTouch Network for the show we call Legal AF. Lawyers talking about things they know what they're talking about at the intersection of law and politics. We don't blow smoke or sunshine. We're not censored. We're independent. We have no outside investors. And we are the network you've been looking for here on the MeidasTouch Network. So until my next hot take, until my next Legal AF, this is Michael Popok reporting. Heary, heary. Legal AF Law Breakdown is now in session. Go beyond the headlines and get a deep dive into the important legal concepts you need to know and we discuss every day on Legal AF. Exclusive content you won't find anywhere else, all for the price of a couple of cups of coffee. Join us at patreon.com/legalaf. That's patreon.com/legalaf.